Welcome back to the Epic Workout. I'm Alex, and let's do our 43. Today's focus is the 43. In the 43, we do mesh to channel. It's the story of being out in the world, collaborating, and then gently backing out just a little bit away from the world into a stronger sense of clear, channeled, focused contribution. In the Epic Workout, we wrap movement and mobility and exercise and mind-body integration in a way around your body so that you can experience more freedom. In the 43 hexagram is built through mesh and channel. In the GPs, the key themes are deafness, insight, and epiphany. Consider for a moment being out in the world, giving yourself the time and the space to gently pull back and narrow the focus, the insight that emerges. So we'll be exploring that in the last part of our practice today. First, I'm going to build this with you and you're going to get to do it. Second, we'll do some mobility and a few exercises in a 43 way. In Human Design, 43 is in the ajna. So there's a conceptual piece and conceptual theme to the 43, which is really exciting to contemplate and to work with. Are you ready? Let's do this. Find a neutral place. You can bounce a moment to feel your body, get into your body. And then take a step forward, bring your body, eyes, attention forward. Step wide and up. So we've got this forward, wide, up quality. We're in the world, fully engaged, able to reflect. You're an agent in a collective. This is the bottom trigram, the yang, yang, yang of the 43rd hexagram. The top trigram is where we're going. So bottom trigram is where we are, top trigram is where we're going. So from a place of being an agent in a collective, being an individual in a group, so to speak. From here, we take a gentle, small step back, a small shift back into channel by coming narrow. We're still tall and active. We're still forward from neutral. And now there's a coming into clarity, coming into focus. Try it again. So from mesh, from out here, from fully having let go of the self and self-consciousness, then we step a little bit back, narrow in our attention, focus the agency. We get into the active contribution. One more time. So wide, hanging out, checking out the world, and maybe you see something that feels appropriate or you feel your own power and potential. And so you let things narrow. You take a slight step back into self here. Now channel, the idea in channel is we're forward, we're active, we're up, and we're focused. So this could be, hey, can you pass the salt? Hey, can you help me on this project? Hey, would you like to join my program? It's an offering. So this is a space of confident contribution, making an offer of yourself, of your art, of your work. Okay, so 43, the general story then is we're going from this big multiplicity of possibilities and from the human design perspective, conceptually. So all these concepts, this group of them, this one. So for a lot of business people, entrepreneurs, we need to niche. We need to narrow our focus appropriately relative to where we are in the marketplace. So this is a really, really wonderful theme and hexagram for a lot of us. The movement pattern, we can actually pick almost any movement pattern here and if we do it in a particular way. The first movement pattern we're going to play with is good for your elbows and your shoulders. It's a mobility pattern. And it's simply these windmills. This shouldn't be too complicated. but it might be, so take your time. First of all, make sure that this feels okay on your elbows and shoulders. We're doing this primarily for mobility. But here's the 43 of it. Take these and sort of aim them outside of you. So I'm kind of pointing them now at you or on the side. Take your elbows a little more towards the midline. Take your elbows a bit higher. Don't smack yourself in the face. So pretty quickly, hopefully you can get the sense that you can take this pattern all over the place. Now that's nice because it's a very integrated move. So you're really demonstrating, hey, I can integrate here. Now, this is brand new. You might this might feel confusing. So there's, of course, that part of it. But in terms of the 43, it's like we can be anywhere doing this pattern. And sometimes we're doing a pattern better or worse, depending on where we aim. And part of that is just our skill, right? How many times do you feel uncomfortable in a new situation? It's just because you haven't done it before. So there's that part. And what I'd like you to find here is where do your elbows need to be that gives you the most power. That you can start to pick up the pace, pick up the speed. You might think, oh, I want some weights. I want some resistance. But then if you move out of that zone, things get a little bit more, well, it's got to go slower, or I have to think more. But there's a zone that you get in, and you can pick up the pace, you can pick up the speed, you don't have to think as much. Okay, relax. Do you see what we did there? We took a movement pattern, we found the integrated experience, and we found then the zone of more powerful action contribution showing up. Same thing now with our feet. With our feet, you're going to balance on one foot, to my left in this case. With your other foot, you reach and start to touch everywhere. Now make it small enough that you feel confident with your balance and your breathing. Your breathing is a big sign with this one. If you're holding your breath, make the movement smaller. Now, there's a lot going on to balance you here. What I'd like you to do is find the integrated experience. So find the version of this that is kind of like a dance. You can go anywhere, move your arms, move your feet, make sure you're breathing. By itself, this is fantastic training for your nervous system, your balance, and some core athleticism. Explore the space. And just like before, find an area, find a zone, find a range that starts to feel a bit more powerful. Where you just want to start picking up the pace. Make sure you're breathing. Now, take that out into the space a bit more and notice what happens. You gotta think more, or it's a bit more sluggish. And then you've got this zone where you can really let go and put more energy into it. Go ahead and rest. Walk around a little bit, shake it out. That was probably a lot. We are gonna do the other side, and then there's one final exercise. Other foot now. Start gentle integration. Collaborating with the space. Even with your visual system, let yourself look around. Play with your speed. Play with your timing. And then start to find your power stride. It's probably forward and back in some version. Once you've got more speed or power with it, take it off to the side again and see what happens. Finish up with a bit more power and focus. Rest. Let it go. Walk around your space a little bit. Shake things out. Great job. Insight. What insights are you having? Our last move, now that you've mobilized shoulders, elbows, a little bit neck and core, and definitely hips and knees and ankles. We're going to put it all together in one final move, rolling into a press position. So there's a lot of variation to this, but here's the full move. You drop down into a squat, come forward into a press, you hover, and come back. If that is too much range of motion for you, dropping back into a seat and back up is perfectly fine. You can use a wall, sit, press, and back up. So that's a super easy way if you are nurturing an injury or just you don't have range of motion. If you do have a range of motion and you're feeling like you want more challenge, then take it lower. Drop to a squat, come back to a press, and back up. So for this, I'm going to give you 1 minute to explore the movement. 1 minute and 11 seconds. To explore the movement, find your own groove with it. So start with a sense of, does this feel integrated? Do I feel a general sense of confidence? Then find your groove, find your power stride, add a little bit of speed and a little bit of oomph to it, find your groove, and have fun. Here we go, 1 minute and 11 seconds. Thirty seconds to go. If you haven't tried it yet, go to the left or the right with it. It'll probably slow you down. Last 10 seconds. You're done. Great job. Stand up, regulate your breathing, find a way to let go of your breathing, and then it'll come into a bit more flow. Back to purely the 43. Mesh, channel. Let's do it mechanically once. Find the flow of those two postures. Mesh to channel. Mesh. Small step back to channel. I want to say one thing about that. These postures are built in 3 dimensions. Forward or back, narrow or wide, up or down. But then depending on how much forwardness or how much width or narrowness, it builds the move. Channel has just a little bit less forwardness than mesh. We go through a few moves: sponge, cradle, pillar, gateway, moving forward. And then we come into bridge, field, channel, gateway. It's an evolution forward. It's a progress in the movement forward. So channel's just a little bit back from mesh. And I find this really fascinating from a point of view of insight. We're coming from the collective and the integration, and we're taking a small step back toward self, still very much in the world, and then narrowing the focus. There's actually quite a lot of information, wisdom to get out of just that dimensionality. So we've got that piece, and now let's touch in on insight, deafness, and epiphany. and hold that conceptually. So we can do the 43 purely mechanically, about the world, about objects, about business. We can bring this into lots of different areas. But to honor human design and gene keys, let's look at it conceptually. All these concepts, all these possibilities. Here we go. All these possibilities and concepts and ideas. The insight about some of them that arise. All these concepts and possibilities. The insight that's possible. As you do this, go gently with your body so that you get the integration. Don't feel like you're forcing anything into your body. One more time. All the possibilities, concepts that you cherish. The new and novel insight. Now the shadow side. So expect maybe some discomfort here. All the ideas and possibilities you haven't been willing to let go of, to leave behind, to let be, as you step into your space of contribution. So let's acknowledge and recognize all the ideas and concepts, the more than you can ever act on, to let them be, let them go, and step back into your own contribution. How many times have you ever felt pressure to move forward and to progress, when what would have served you is a small step backward to focus? So anywhere that you have been deaf to insight, deaf to, or refusing to be deaf to, and let things go in the world. That's a little bit relevant right now with politics. A lot of us want to be a little bit distanced from the distraction of politics to focus on what matters, whether that's political or business or family. So lastly, epiphany. We're going to find the flow, starting with the physicality of the flow, and then bring in the label, the word, the theme of epiphany. So find your flow here. Move around the space with mesh. Find something that's interesting that catches your attention and channel with it. Back to mesh. Explore the space. Let something catch your attention, channel with it. One more time, epiphany. What's the epiphany for you today? What epiphany can you be today? Let it go. Take a moment now with some silence. Rest your arms, bend your knees, gently float, close your eyes. Take 2 slow breaths. Gently open your eyes. With this much focus on these themes of insight, with the concept of gently stepping back from the all into your focus, what insights can you have this week in these next few days? So I suggest that you spend the next 5 or 6 days playing with the 43 as a way of exercising and moving, as well as the exercises we actually did today. Elbows, shoulders, hips, and then a full body press. Enjoy the experience, and you'll see here a few more additional videos that you can experiment with. Thanks for being you, and thanks for being epic, and I will see you in the next epic workout.